My name is Pascale, and I want to welcome you to the 17th annual auction of the Pascale Pals. Here today, we have Jake, who is actually in remission for 2 years today. We are going to do something a little bit different for the video of the auction. We are going to speak with the caretakers that take care of the children here at the hospital. We want to be able to show you guys in the audience how the Pascale Pals has helped the hospital and helped all the caretakers that are here improve and help the children.
The first experience that I had with Pascale's Pals was, well, actually it was with Pascale herself as a patient.
When I was about 18 months old, I was diagnosed with ALL leukemia. I relapsed when I was about 5.5 years old. This time, we were in the hospital for quite a while. I was pretty sick, and so, my sisters started to come along. They started to visit me, but really, there wasn't any room for them. They slept on the bathroom floor, and it just really wasn't a good atmosphere.
In those days, there wasn't a lot of entertainment for either the kids or the parents.
There was one TV that you had to sign up for 24 hours. So my mom actually got a group of her girlfriends, and they did bake sales starting in the Commons, and they were able to raise enough money within a year to fill all the rooms that were needed with TVs.
And this began with Sylvie seeing a need and Sylvie acting on it.
And then as it grew, she said, I need to do more. And of course, we're willing to jump on that bandwagon.
And Pascale and her family have supported the hospital for years and years now.
They have been instrumental in helping out wherever they can for these families.
And I can honestly say I don't know how I would do my job without them, without the donations they make that go towards meal vouchers, gas cards, Walmart cards.
When you have to travel sometimes on a weekly basis to come for chemo or weeks on end to be in hospital with a PICC line getting antibiotics, people underestimate the amount of stress and financial strain that can put on a family.
A family has needs for a car to be fixed because they cannot make their appointments. They have no other means or anyone to turn to.
Insurance doesn't pay for dressing supplies and wound care supplies.
When you come here and you have no means to change your clothes for 3 days, they've helped with that.
Pascale's Pals also funds baskets for the patients in the hospital, and those baskets can include anything from an iPad to a laptop. They've even had bicycles donated.
A teenage boy with sickle cell anemia. He was in foster care, had been in and out of multiple homes, and one thing he always wanted every time he was here was a laptop. I mean, he guarded that laptop. If he was here, it was his. And so we talked to Sylvie, and she did. She got him his very own laptop, which he still carries with him almost every time I see him.
The look in their eyes, the joy, the surprise with the amount of things that they get, and just how that can help them cope with being at the hospital.
One of my bleeding disorder patients, he was having a surgical procedure and had some speech delay already. They were unable to get speech therapy for him because of insurance reasons, and the family could not pay out of pocket. They came and brought him a basket that had an iPad in it, and one of the speech pathologists here at the hospital helped Mom with some apps for his iPad that have helped him with his speech. In the last year, since he's gotten this iPad, I can now understand almost everything that he says. He's really made a lot of progress in the last year.
I mean, instantaneously, you can see the kids just light up. No matter what they're here for, it's, oh man, and they usually know it's coming. I mean, it's very rare that we don't ask them, what would you really want? But they light up, their day changes.
Recently, we just went through the renovation of our brand new NICU. Pascale Pals was willing to purchase reclining chairs so that our parents could stay at the baby's bedsides. Just like the one that we're standing in front of here, every one of our 20 private rooms got one of these so that if mommy wants to take a nap or hold her baby or be with her baby 24/7, she can do that now with these comfortable reclining chairs.
They've recently renovated the NICU waiting room for the newborn intensive care unit, which is where we take care of the sickest and the smallest of the children for whom we care.
They also put in a kitchen. They put in an area for the families to make food and store their food, lockers to store their belongings, recarpeted, repainted it.
All along in the mini units that we've been into, Pascale Pals has helped us furnish the care by parent room. It's comfortable, it's home-like. Those are the things that are really important. It makes a good transition home.
The playroom we have here standing behind me, That would not exist without Pascale's Pals. Outside the specialty clinic, there is a playground for the children. And there were people who told her that would never be made, and yet here it is.
You should never tell Sylvie something can't be done, because she can make it happen.
Seeing a kid go out and get some fresh air out of the hospital environment and be able to enjoy playing in TJ's garden or the playground that was solely provided by Pascale's Pals, there's not a part of the hospital that Pascale's Pals hasn't touched.
All of the things here kind of take the intimidation factor out of the clinic.
So on a day-to-day basis, we see kids and families using the services that Pascale's Pals provides.
Well, I have the opportunity to work with the Pascale's Pals student group. They come on Tuesdays afternoons, and they provide an activity for patients in the playroom.
We plan a craft with all the children who are attending. Our most recent one, we made snowflakes, and we decorated snowflakes, and they were able to take it home with them.
And it's something unique. It's a different activity each week.
To all the teenagers or children of a little bit older age here, get a list of their favorite restaurants, and we bring them takeout. We pretty much just talk with the teenagers. We socialize with them. I could just tell that just being there and having someone to listen to you at a time like that really helps take a burden off these kids.
So they can kind of socialize, talk about their experiences, be together. They get to talk with the Pascale's Pals student group leaders.
Another amazing thing Pascale's Pals does for our patients and families is on all the holidays, they do something special. Of course, what child wants to be in the hospital on Christmas? So Santa obviously shows up, and Pascale's Pals helps that to make that happen. So it's so great.
Pascale's Pals funded our new medical memory scrapbooks, and there's one for siblings being in the hospital and then in the emergency department. So it's another way for kids to kind of navigate being here at the hospital, and it's just another great way for them to express themselves while they're here.
I've been working with patients with cystic fibrosis for the past 15 years. 3 years ago, I had the idea to create a program called Beads for Breath, and it's 100% funded by funds through Pascale's Pals. So once a child is enrolled in the Beads for Breath program, they earn beads every time they have a medical procedure or undergo something at the hospital or clinic. These are for when they come to clinic visits, PICC lines and portacaths, x-rays. They get so excited, they get to talk to their friends and their family about what this all means, and it's a visual that shows people all the things that they have to go through.
One of our bleeding disorder patients really wanted to go to her senior prom, and the family did not have money to send her, so we called Pascale's Pals right away and found out actually that this girl and Pascale were in the same class at school. So Pascale surprised her with her prom dress and an appointment to get her hair and nails done, and Pascale actually ended up taking her to the senior prom. They went together and had a fabulous time.
Probably the one basket I'll never forget, this young lady who I believe was 15, and she has Crohn's disease. She's going over the summer to Mizzou to a journalism camp, and she's one of the very few children in the state of Missouri who got chosen to do that. They've suggested this specific laptop, and 2 days later Sylvie delivered that to me, and this young lady was so excited she was in tears, and her mother was in tears, and they just went on and on and on about how much this was going to change her life. Hopefully someday I'll see her and she'll be telling me about graduating from journalism school, and Sylvie and Pascale's Pals helped make that possible.
This young man has sickle cell disease, and he's 5 years old. Keandre, his mom was legally blind, and she died suddenly. And grandfather called. He had told me that he had lost all his services for the child because it was all linked into mom's case, and that he had no money for his antibiotic that he needed every day for his sickle cell, plus he needed guardianship because this was such a sudden thing. And the first thing that came to mind was Pascale's Pals. There was a filing fee, I believe $600 that they needed for the temporary guardianship. When we contacted Sylvie, she was right there. She said, "This is exactly what we do." And that grandfather was beside himself. He was crying on the phone. This is Keandre. And while he is not able to tell us thank you, his grandparent is, his grandfather Charles.
A few years back, Pascale's Pals helped one of my high school seniors that had a bleeding disorder here in town. He lived with his grandmother who was on a limited income, and he wanted a letter jacket and a class ring and then graduation invitations and his cap and gown. He was very worried about feeling left out. Pascale's Pals made that happen for him.
My first experience directly is with a family that had their baby in the intensive care unit for several months, and just days before he was supposed to go home, they had a fire in their home and lost just about everything. I called Pascale Pals to ask if they would help, and they told me that the class in the first grade class at the school would provide me with some gifts. I walked into the classroom and they all had big packages for the baby and the family. They followed me out. I felt like the Pied Piper with all the children following me. I went straight to the mom's house, and the look on her face was, she was so appreciative, and my thought at the time was, not just great for the family, but what a great lesson for these kids.
Obviously, hearing about a child dying is not something that many people want to talk about or even want to admit happens, and it does. And Pascale's Pals have always been there to help support the families in that.
We had a baby girl a few months ago. Pascale's Pals was generous, kind, and comforting to this family in supporting them with funeral expenses. The funeral was incredibly beautiful, moving, and poignant, and I cannot thank them enough for their contributions.
We had a patient who we no longer had treatment options for her here, and so she was transferred to Chicago for an experimental treatment, and when she got there, her condition worsened, and she was no longer a candidate for this experimental treatment. And the family was told, she's also too critical to travel. You're gonna have to be here, miles away from your family. We picked up the phone, we called, and we said, what can we do? And Pascale's Pals arranged for a helicopter to pick her up. They flew her back to the university here. She was able to die with her family by her side, her siblings there, the memories were made, and you can't get that time back. That made a horrible situation better for that family.
For a child who knows they're coming in today, they're going to get stuck with needles, they're going to be given medication that's going to make them sick, and their little faces are kind of sagging, and they walk in with a basket of hope, it changes their whole day. It lights them up, and you wouldn't know that this is a child that's sick. This is just a child, and it is everything.
I don't think Sylvie has ever told me no, and she knows and trusts that as the social workers here working firsthand with the families that we are asking for something that these families really need.
I just want to tell everybody here tonight to please do what you can to help this organization.
Help these families and help us make their lives better.
It's worth the money, that's for sure.
Give with your heart and donate to Pascale's.
Tonight's event is the largest annual event that is held by the Pascale Pals. Tonight is your chance to be able to impact tens of thousands of children all over mid-Missouri. Anything you can give, large or small, helps benefit the Women's and Children's Hospital here in town. Thank you very much for your support, and have a great evening.